Hey guys, what's up? My name is Star Levels Up and welcome back to my channel and another vlog video. It is Thursday, though it is kind of late on Thursday. I'm still giving you a vlog. You're still getting those 2 videos. Hopefully I can keep that momentum rolling. As many of you might know if you watched the recent video on my channel explaining where I've been, I got into a work accident and I cut my finger pretty severely on a powered meat slicer. I did not cut it off, but I did require 7 stitches and 2 sutras, and there was blood everywhere, and it was a very bad time. I couldn't use it for over a month, and it's still not completely healed. It's healed on the outside. There's a big ugly scar on my finger where I cut it, but it was on the bend of my finger, which means that it's hard to heal there because you're constantly moving that part of your finger. So while it looks like it's healed on the outside, it's still not completely healed on the inside. Using it for anything still kind of hurts. If I touch the scar on it, it hurts. If I touch anything with the tip of my finger, it hurts. So typing is really kind of terrible for me right now, and playing games is hard, but it's not as hard if I can use different fingers for different, like if I'm running with WASD, I can use my middle finger and just use different fingers and placements, which is fine. I'm just getting used to that. But that is why I haven't been playing many games on the channel, and I've just been posting my streams because it's a lot easier for me to just play a game for a couple of hours and then upload it to YouTube without having to stream or without having to edit it. Editing is pretty hard for me right now. It's always been hard for me though. I don't have the patience for it. I really don't. I wish I could get better at it, but I mean, getting better at it involves practice. But the problem is, the way I'm doing it now is the only way I can figure out how to do it. So it's kind of like, how am I supposed to practice a better way to do it if I don't know the better way? Anyway, all this to say hello. Welcome back to my channel. And today, it's not going to be a very long video, but we are going to be talking about Genki. It's a Japanese textbook. This is the 2nd edition because I bought it from Amazon for roughly $70-something, which is very expensive. But it came with a workbook and the CDs. So I'm teaching myself Japanese, if you couldn't tell. I hope I'll be able to learn by myself. I'm a little bit worried about that, considering I'm not very good at keeping myself on track. When I was in high school, I had a couple years of Spanish, and I was really good at it when I had a teacher that was one-on-one with me that I could ask questions with. Not so good at doing things by myself. And no, I've forgotten all of my Spanish because I never used it after high school. I had no one to talk to, so I just forgot it all. But I'm hoping this is going to be different. I'm hoping that once I can learn enough phrases and words that maybe I can join a subreddit or some kind of forum for people that are trying to learn Japanese, and we can speak to each other or type to each other or whatever. But that being said, that's only if I can get the basics down. Genki is a very good starting point, I think. There are a couple of things that it doesn't explain. So I'm a little bit confused on some things, but for the most part, really glad about the CDs because they do help with pronunciation. You can read the word and think that you're saying it properly and be saying it completely wrong, because there are some letters that aren't even pronounced that are just there. Like there's a U in desu, but you're actually just supposed to say des, which I learned from the CDs. So good on those CDs. But so today, on this short video, it's probably not going to be more than 10 minutes long, but it's still a video. I figured I would go over some of the first lessons with you guys, just so you can kind of understand more about learning Japanese. So if you're already a native Japanese speaker, you probably don't want to stick around for this video. Unless you do, if you do want to stick around for this video, any help that I can get will be appreciated. Any help at all. Because I really want to get good at speaking Japanese, but I have the feeling that I'm not going to be very good at it. But that being said, we're going to open up to the first couple of pages. Now, it does in the very beginning have a couple of tables, like the hiragana table. I'll see if I can show it to you guys. This is the very first page. You can kind of see some of the writing here. Apparently the Japanese language has technically 4, but they say 3 different writing styles. Hiragana, katakana, and kanji, I think. And then the fourth one is romaji, so it's just Japanese words spelled with English letters to kind of try and help you understand what they are saying, which is very useful for me because I don't read or speak a lick of Japanese. So, good for that. We're gonna skip through a couple of pages. This is just telling you what it's hoping to accomplish during this book. And the very first lesson is greetings, and it looks like this. If you guys can see all of that, I don't know if you can. Sorry about that mic bump there. So, I'm gonna tell you guys what some of the traditional greetings or, just greetings basically are in Japanese. So, I always thought konnichiwa was hello, but apparently it's not. However, people do just say it casually. This is what the book says. They do also just use it casually with their friends. But they have about 4 different greetings. So one for good morning, one for good afternoon, one for good evening, and one for good night. And I'm going to read those off to you now. So the first one is good morning, and that's Ohayo. But if you want to be polite about it, it's Ohayo gozaimasu. And Ohayo gozaimasu is used when you're not on a first name basis with someone. And so it's like someone like your teacher, somebody that you wouldn't necessarily be intimate with. So Ohayo gozaimasu is to show respect and be polite. Ohayo is just between friends or people you're on a first name basis with, which is pretty easy to remember, I think. Then you have konnichiwa, which actually means good afternoon, not hello. Konbanwa means good evening. So if you see someone out later in the evening, like at a convenience store or something, you can say konbanwa to greet them instead. And then lastly, good night is oyasumi. However, this is one of the things I was talking about earlier where the book doesn't explain everything. It has oyasumi and then in parentheses it says nasai. I don't know why the nasai is in parentheses. Do I not always say it? Do I only say it to certain people? It hasn't told me yet, and I have gotten past this lesson and I'm in numbers now, so I'm a little bit confused. But I'll just try and look it up later. Sayonara is goodbye, but I was told that people don't often use that as a goodbye because it means you don't expect to see them again for a very long time. Or you use it to say goodbye to your teachers if you're in high school. Then there is arigato, which means thank you, and arigato gozaimasu, which is thank you, which is a politer version of thank you. And then sumimasen means excuse me and I'm sorry, but I was told it also means thank you if someone has done something for you. So there's 2 different ways to say thank you, unless I'm misunderstanding. However, on this list here, it just says, excuse me and I'm sorry, and arigato is thank you. But in a later lesson, it says you can use sumimasen as thank you also. But I mean, I feel like sumimasen just sums up me as a person. I'm either saying excuse me, thank you, or I'm sorry. Lots of I'm sorry, so I feel like sumimasen would be a catchphrase for me. Anyway, the next one is ie, which means no, not at all. So if somebody says thank you, you're like, nah, don't mention it. Don't worry about it. You just say ie. And then itekimasu means I'll go and come back. Like you're about to leave to go to the store or to go to work. And then you say that to whoever's in your household to let them know that you're leaving but that you will be back. And then itterashai means please go and come back. So what somebody says is I'm leaving, I'm going. And then the response is itterashai, which means go, yeah, please do go and come back. It's basically just like a greeting. It's basically what you say when you're going to work. You're like, bye, I'm leaving. And then whoever's in your house responds with, okay, come back soon. It's kind of that response. It's just a cute little greeting, I think. Tadaima means I'm home. And okeri means welcome home, but it also has a nasai in parentheses, and I still don't know what that means. Itadakimasu means thank you for the meal, which you say before eating. And if you don't say it before eating, you're either rude or you have to say gochi. Oh, I always mess this one up. Goki-sama. Gokisu-sama. Gokisu-sama. I think I'm saying that properly. I'm gonna have to re-listen to the CD on that one. It's a very hard word to pronounce for me. I get stuck on it. I don't know why. But it means thank you for the meal after eating, and it has deshita afterwards in parentheses, and I again don't know what that means. So I'm struggling. This is the very first lesson, and there's a couple of things that I'm still having trouble with, a couple of things I still don't understand. But hopefully with some work and practice I will get there. Maybe I can find somebody that can walk me through this or talk me through this over Discord, basically. That's what my initial thing is. That's what my thought is right now, because I'm doing okay, I think, but I would have no way of knowing other than listening to the CDs, which I have been doing, so that's been good. Then, of course, hajimemashite means how do you do? That one's pretty straightforward. I think a lot of people know that one. And this is the second one I struggle with. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu? It means nice to meet you. It's also a very hard one. I hope I never have to use either of those two words, but I'm probably going to have to listen to the CD 1,000 times just for those two words before I can actually pronounce them correctly. So I am sorry if anybody is watching that speaks Japanese, because I am definitely butchering that, but I'm doing my best. So those are all the greetings that it has. But I can read you the little excerpt that taught me about this. It says, Ohayo is used between friends and family members, while Ohayo gozaimasu is used between less intimate acquaintances. Similarly, with arigato and arigato gozaimasu, the rule of thumb is if you are on a first-name basis with someone, go for the shorter version. If you would address someone as Mr. or Miss, use the longer versions. Ohayo is the greeting used before noon, but some people use it as casual settings in the afternoon, use it in casual settings in the afternoon, or even at night when they see their classmates or coworkers for the first time that day. So I misspoke. They do not use konnichiwa casually, they use ohayo casually. So ohayo is the best greeting that you can use. There are several goodbye expressions in Japanese, the choice among which depends on the degree of separation. Sayonara indicates that the speaker does not expect to see the person spoken to before she turns a page in her life, not until a new day arrives or until fate brings the two together again. It sounds dramatic and ritualistic, and its daily use is largely restricted to school children taking leave of their teachers. Ja mata, between friends expecting to see each other again fairly soon. And this one I don't think I've heard. Shitsue shimasu? Or shitsuru shimasu. Shitsuru shimasu. Taking leave from a professor's office, for example. That one's hard. Sumimasen, here we go, means excuse me to get another person's attention. It means I'm sorry to apologize for the trouble you have caused, or thank you to show appreciation for what someone has done for you. Ie is primarily no, a negative reply to a question. In the dialogue, it is used to express the English phrase, don't mention it, or you're welcome, with which you point out that one is not required to feel obligated for what you've done for them. Iterashai is a common exchange used at home when a family member leaves. The person who leaves says itakimasu, which literally means I will go and come back, and the family members respond with itirashai, which means please go and come back. Tadaima and okeri are used when a person comes home. The person who arrives home says, Tadaima, I am home right now, to the family members, and they respond with, Okeri nasai, welcome home. So, that's the first lesson, and then it has a little practice that says you meet your host family for the first time. Greet them. And And that one is a trick question because I don't know what time it is, but I would assume you would say Ohayo gozaimasu because it is a respectful greeting. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You see your neighbor, Mr. Yamada. I wonder if you say konnichiwa because it's evening or afternoon, but konnichiwa doesn't have like a polite gozaimasu afterwards, unless it does, but that wasn't explained. Only Ohio had the polite greeting behind it. So again, a couple of things I'm confused about. You come to class in the morning, greet your teacher, greet your friends. I assume you would say Ohayo gozaimasu to your professor and then just Ohio to your friends. On a crowded train, you stepped on someone's foot. Sumimasen. Immediately. You dropped your book, someone picked it up for you. Either arigato gozaimasu or sumimasen. I would say sumimasen because sorry I dropped it in the first place and thank you for getting it for me. It's 8 o'clock at night. You happen to meet your teacher at the convenience store. I would assume you would either say konbanwa or I forgot the one for good night already, unless it's sayonara. Oh, oyasumi. But oyasumi nasai sounds like something you'd say if you're going to bed, so I'm assuming you would say konbanwa because that's good evening. You're watching TV with your host family. It is time to go to sleep. Oyasumi nasai. Or just oyasumi, I'm not sure. I don't know what the nasai stands for. You are leaving home. I gotta flip back to look at it because I've forgotten the word. I think it's iteki. No, itadekimasu. It's itekimasu. Itadakimasu, not itadakimasu. I always mess up with the su. It's just S. When you're leaving home, you say itekimasu. When you've come back home, you say tadaima. You're going to start eating itadakimasu. So thank you for the meal, and you've finished eating, and that's the gokisusama that I think I'm pronouncing properly, and I am probably not. So, it's a hard journey that I'm trying to take by myself. So again, if any of you know Japanese, leave a comment down below. Let me know anything that I'm pronouncing wrong, or if you know somewhere that I can talk with other people who are learning that I might get some help. That would be heavily appreciated. But that's all the time I'm gonna have for this video, and thanks for just hanging out with me for a couple of minutes. I hope to see you in another video, and I hope you check out my stream because I'm having a lot of fun streaming. But anyway, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, guys!